Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy JCat, and today I'm going to be ranking all the bosses in Paper Mario 64. I guess let me explain. I don't really know. First of all the footage in this video is from the channel Yuta Gaming. So yeah. Oh yeah, it's in the corner. I don't even know why I did that. Anyways, so the bosses in Paper Mario 64 are pretty good. They're not like amazing, but they're not horrible. So yeah, I'll make this video kind of positive. And I don't really have much else to say, if I'm honest. I beat the game recently, so I should be able to have a pretty good ranking of the bosses. That's really about it. So yeah, let's get into the ranking. Oh shoot, yeah. I'm only ranking the chapter bosses. So no mini bosses, optional bosses, or super bosses will be in this video. Just the chapter bosses. So yeah, let's get into the ranking. At 9th, we have the Goomba King, which is the chapter boss of the prologue. And first of all, let's talk about the biggest issue. Action commands. You don't get them until after you beat this boss, so it makes your attacks and the boss's attacks just kind of boring. I do think that the ability to use the Goom Nut tree by hitting that bandage, you can see on the screen right now, to drop a Goom Nut that lands on every enemy. I think that's a pretty cool idea, but yeah, this fight's just boring. It has nothing going on. I guess the attacks are okay, and I guess I kind of like the fact that red and blue Goomba are in this fight, but you can just kill them by hitting the Goom Nut tree. So yeah, I don't think this fight is like bad or anything, but it's in the prologue and you don't even have freaking action commands. So yeah, that means this fight has to rank at number 9 on the list. At number 8, we have Tootin' Koopa. Now, Tootin' Koopa is the chapter boss of Chapter 2, and I guess he's okay. He has some decent health, and he even has a Chain Chomp minion, and it's quite cool. But the fight is just really basic. He does have some cool attacks where he kicks Buzzy Beetles, and he can immobilize your partner, but that's really all I gotta say. He's just a really easy boss, and 30 HP is actually pretty decent for this point in the game. I don't know, he's just quite a forgettable boss, and he doesn't have much interesting going on. I mean, I guess he's not a bad fight, and he does have some good stuff about it. Again, he can immobilize your partner, and he has a minion, but yeah, I have nothing else to really say about this fight. It's good, it works, it exists, and I guess you have some pretty low stats at this point in the game, so it might be kind of hard. But yeah, this is not the best part about Chapter 2. I mean, definitely one of the best parts of Chapter 2, but not the best. Tootin' Koopa's a fine part. He's good, he's okay, but he's kind of lackluster compared to the other chapter bosses in this game. So at number 7, we have Tubba Blubber's Heart. First of all, for this fight, I'm not going to be counting the final phase of Tubba Blubber himself, because he's a joke in that phase. This fight is okay. He has some okay attacks. I'm pretty sure he even has defense, but I don't think he does. I guess he's just kind of like a Bow tutorial, and Bow is my favorite partner in the game. Oh yeah, he doesn't have defense. Anyways, Bow's my favorite partner in the game, and basically it shows that that you should use Outer Sight with Bow whenever an enemy is using a charged up attack. And also, this is for some reason the only mini-boss in Chapter 3. Like, unless you count Junior Trooper, but like, he's a mini-boss. Why did I call him a mini-boss? Never mind. Junior Trooper is a mini-boss, and he's technically not even part of Chapter 3. He's post-Chapter 3, pre-Chapter 4. Whatever. 50 HP is quite good. In fact, he even has the same amount of HP as some later game mini bosses, like when you fight Lackluster in Chapter 6. But yeah, this fight just isn't that interesting. I do think it's better than Tootin' Koopa because you get to use Bow quite a lot, and Bow's my favorite partner in the game, so that's always appreciated. But he's alright. He's good, definitely better than Tootin' Koopa, but not good enough to land above number 7. So at number 6, just outside ranking, just outside the top 5, is General Guy. Now General Guy is the chapter boss of chapter 4, so we're going in chapter order so far, and he's good. I like the fact that he can summon multiple waves of Shy Guys during the fight. As you can see, he summons in a Shy Guy horde during the fight, and he also summons Shy Guy stilts during the fight, which is pretty cool. He eventually, after you defeat those, he comes on screen and you get to attack him. His tank has some defense, which isn't always nice because the previous 2 bosses we talked about have not had any defense at all. Which is kind of odd because the chapter 1 boss's defense, but whatever. And he can do some pretty tough to dodge attacks. Or not tough to dodge, high damaging attacks. That's the word. I genuinely think it's a pretty good fight, but it's just forgettable. And also, I haven't really talked about boss themes in this video because they haven't really been that important. I'll just say that I like the boss themes in this game, and the only reason I've been playing them during the recording is because, like, friggin', there's also dialogue boxes during the fight, so I would just interrupt the music. I might put background music in my TTYD boss ranking once that happens. I don't even own TTYD. Anyways, I don't like the boss theme. It just doesn't feel like a boss theme. Like, it's just not a good boss theme. I do think General Guy is a good boss, but he's also quite forgettable. So yeah, he ranks outside the top 5. Alright, so at number 5 we have the Koopa Bros, and the Koopa Bros are the first chapter boss of the game, and for some reason they even have 2 phases, which the previous 3 bosses, well, not 3, Toon Koopa and Tubba Blubba's Heart, which come after this fight, don't have 2 phases, unless you count the Tubba Blubba part for Tubba Blubba's Heart. Whatever, they don't have 2 phases, and this fight does. The phase you're seeing on screen right now is the Bowser phase, where they're in this giant Bowser Mac, which has some pretty easy to dodge attacks, or not dodge, block. But he has defense, which is good, because having defense this early in the game is genuinely pretty great. Wait. He used power jump there, that's why he did damage. Anyway, I don't know why I said that. Now, after you break open the tank, the Koopa Bros come out, and you're basically fighting 4 Koopa Troopers at once that work in tandem to do strong attacks. And these strong attacks are... They're pretty strong. They do a ton of damage for this early in the game, and okay, I don't really know the most amount of HP you can get at this point. I think the amount of HP you can probably get at this point is like 25 by leveling up twice and increasing HP on both level ups, and then putting on a HP plus, which is pretty good, but they still do high damage. So yeah. The only way to knock all the Koopa Bros over in one shot is with a bomb from Bombette, and since FP is quite scarce at this point in the game, that's quite hard. I also think the Koopa Bros are really cool as characters, but I'm not factoring that into the ranking. I don't really have much else to say for this fight. It's just a pretty great fight, especially for a first chapter boss of the game, and again, some pretty strong attacks. But I don't really want to waste any time, so unfortunately for you guys, you will not see the Koopa Bros' powerful attacks. Never mind, you will. I just want to see the damage it does, so I can show you. Yeah, 4. That did like half the health he still had. Anyways, Koopa Bros ranking number 5. So from now on, the ranking got really difficult, but at 4th place, just standing outside the top 3, we have Lava Piranha. Now I remember really liking Lava Piranha when I first played the game. I didn't mention this, but I actually replayed Paper Mario 64. But yeah, Lava Piranha definitely got worse. But I still think the fight is a pretty great fight. First of all, the Lava Buds adding 2 extra attacks is pretty great, because he does some pretty good damage for this point in the game. And pretty good damage. That's pretty good. I also like how he has 2 phases and 40 HP. 40 HP is actually a pretty good amount. It may be less than Tubba Blubba's Heart, but he has 2 phases, and both of which have 40 HP. So, yeah. that means that he technically has a total of 80 HP, which is the most in the game at that point. I mean, it's genuinely a great fight. And I also like he goes on fire in the second phase, which unfortunately you probably won't be able to see. But yeah, it's still great. It's still great. And that means all contact moves aren't able to hit him. So, yeah. When he's on fire, the only way to hit him are with non-contact moves, items, or okay, let me talk about why this fight sunk. That's because of Tidal Wave. You get Sushi in this chapter, and Sushi is a good partner. But if you ultra rank her in the volcano, she gets to move Tidal Wave, and Tidal Wave can hit every enemy on the screen. And since they're on fire, they're weak to water and ice damage. And since Tidal Wave is a water attack, well, I'm pretty sure you know how that goes from there. The fight becomes a joke the second you use that. But, yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I still think this fight is pretty great, but the fact that you can turn the fight to the second phase, which is arguably the best part of the fight, into an absolute joke just by ultra ranking Sushi and then using Tidal Wave, kind of sucks. Now, theoretically, on your first time playthrough, you wouldn't know about this and probably wouldn't ultra rank Sushi, so to be fair, if you didn't do that, then this fight would probably be in the top 3, but I just don't think it should be in the top 3 because of how I played the fight. Sorry, Lava Piranha, I want you to be higher, but how I fought you, it means you can't. Now we're in the top 3, the best of the best bosses in the game, and ranking at number 3 we have the Crystal King. Now, I'll talk about the big problem with the Crystal King. He does too freaking much. It's not like he's way too hard, but he just does too much during the fight, if that makes sense, which it probably doesn't. You can summon crystal bits and spit them at you, each crystal bit having 1 HP, and the only way to kill all of them at a time is with multi-hitting moves like Starstorm and Tidal Wave. He can freeze you with an Ice Laser. He can clone himself. He can heal himself. I'm pretty sure he can also summon like Ice Thunder from the sky. I'm not too sure. I don't know. It just feels like too much. I do think he has a pretty great amount of health at this point in the game at 70. 70 is good. He also has 2 defense, which means partners like Bo are useless. I mean, unless you're doing the evasion strategy. Whatever. I actually considered using the worst partner in the game, Lackluster, during this fight for Cloud9. It didn't work out. I didn't win on that attempt. But yeah, this fight's difficulty definitely feels earned though, considering it is the 7th chapter boss in the game. And the only fights that are really harder than Crystal King are Super Bowser and the Master's Final Form. And the latter is a super boss, so that does make sense. But yeah, I do think this fight is pretty great. His attacks do high damage, he just does some pretty great stuff during the fight. And he only heals for 20 HP, which isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. The only reason this guy isn't higher is just, I don't know. I guess he just doesn't do enough. I don't know, I'm sending mixed messages now. But what I'm trying to say is that whilst he does do some pretty fast attacks, he doesn't do enough fast attacks to actually warrant getting higher on the list, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm definitely still sending mixed messages, but whatever. Crystal King will rank at number 3. And at number 2, we have Super Bowser, the final boss in the game. And if you're wondering, I'm not counting the first phase or the second phase of the fight, just the final phase. First of all, health. Super Bowser has the most amount of health anyone in this game could have at a whopping 99. Sure, there are bosses in TTYD with more HP, but the most amount of health an enemy could have in this game was 99, so yeah. The only other boss in the game to have 99 HP is the Master's Final Form, and again, that's a super boss. This guy also does pretty good damage. As you just saw, he can poison you with his claw attack, and he can also heal himself with 30 HP. He can make himself invincible, though you just need to use Peach Beam during that fight. He can also do fire, which does 10 damage, which is like a ton. It's the most amount of health you can have in this game, like 60, with 2 HP pluses, and max level. And yeah, genuinely great fight. you also have access to a lot of badges during this game, which means you have a lot of, during this fight. Sorry, I'm messing up a lot. I don't have a script. Anyways, you have a lot of you have access to a lot of badges at this point in the game. So that means you can strategize and prepare a lot. And that's where my issue comes in with this fight. And it's an issue of what I did. Now, I knew this fight was hard. I very much knew that this fight was hard. And because of that, I prepared in both my badge loadout and my items. But I think I over-prepared. And what I mean by that is that here are the items I had for the fight. I had 1 Jam and Jelly, which heals 50 FP. 2 Ultra Shrooms, which heals 50 HP. 2 Repel Gels, which makes you invincible for 2 turns, so I was invincible for 4 turns. 1 Jelly Ultra, which allows me to heal by 50 HP and FP in a single turn. And 4 Life Shrooms, which revive you for 10 HP if you die in battle. And let me tell you this, the most amount of times I've died in this fight is once. So I was basically an immortal god during this fight. I'm genuinely so sad at the fact that I over-prepared, because this fight does so much more. Like, for the standards of this game, this fight does so much more. But it just can't rank higher because I over-prepared. And in fact, the only badges I even pretty much needed for the fight were the Power Plus, P up, D down, and D down jump, because my strat was to use D down jump every turn, because that did 10 damage if I hit the action commander, and it only cost 2 FP. I'm genuinely really sad about this, how I experienced the fight this way. I still really enjoyed the fight and how I experienced it, but due to the fact that I over-prepared with my items, I never got to experience this fight doing so much more. And again, for its time, it could have done so much more, but I just couldn't experience that so much more because I'd over-prepared. Whatever, you get the gist at this point. This fight would definitely be number 1 if I hadn't over-prepared in my items. And that made the fight and my over-preparation made the fight way too freaking easy. So yeah. Bowser, Super Bowser, as much as I want it to rank at number 1, I just can't put it there. So he ranks at number 2. And my number 1 favourite boss in Paper Mario 64 is Huff and Puff. This boss is controversial, and I know that. People don't really like Huff and Puff because he's extremely difficult for the point in the game you're at. But that's why I like him. He's a really difficult fight, and it's just genuinely really fun. Now, the main thing in this fight is that when you attack him, he spawns in Tough Puffs, which can do extra attacks for him, not you. And he can also suck in his Tough Puffs to heal. He heals 1 for each Tough Puff, and they can be 10 on the field, which means he can heal 10 HP at most. But I didn't actually attack him at all. I didn't use that strategy. But the strat I used still meant I took some pretty big damage, and it still made the fight really good. First of all, 60 HP. That is a lot for this point in the game. But enough yapping about HP. Let's just talk about how I played the fight. Now, I got the Super Jump Charge badge like right before this fight. So my plan was to keep charging every turn and use Out of Sight with Bow every turn I could. And then when I thought I had charged enough, which would have been in like 10 turns, I would use D down jump and he would die. But he still does a ton of damage, and the fight was still genuinely really close. I had to constantly use refresh because my FP was getting really low, and since if I wanted to use Super Jump Charge and Out of Sight on the same turn, that would require 6 FP, and at the point of the game I was playing this in, I only had I think 35 FP, so yeah, that made it, I had to use refresh a ton. It was genuinely a really fun fight. I genuinely loved playing this fight because of how difficult it was, and I didn't even experience the whole fight. If I attacked him normally, I could have experienced something even better. So yeah, for all the reasons I just mentioned, Huff and Puff will take the crown as my favourite boss in Paper Mario 64. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Bye. Oh, wait, no, not buy it. I'm going to do boss rankings in game order. For every other ranking, I won't do it in game order. But for boss rankings, I'll do it in game order. The issue is, I don't even have 1,000 Year Door yet. And if I want to make a boss ranking for that game, which will include every boss, not even just the chapter bosses, that one is, it's gonna be a little tough because I don't even have the game, and there are a ton of bosses in TTYD. So, yeah. That's about it. So see you when I eventually get to that ranking. Right now, you could.